I actually had a while back a podcast with Richard Heyer. He studies intelligence, and it was a very detailed, non-policy discussion about IQ tests and all that kind of stuff. And there, I did. I tried extremely hard to be very nuanced because that felt like an uncomfortable topic back then. It doesn't feel so uncomfortable now. Do you think the Overton window has expanded? Do you think the kind of things we're willing to talk about now? I mean, this has to do with the Trump moment also.
I think the place where the topic seems to me to have changed in my ambient awareness of it is two things. One is a sense of the Flynn effect, which is, it's hard to individually change your IQ, but there is a very well-documented effect. And I talked to James Flynn before I talked to Sam. There is a very well-documented effect where IQs have been rising over time. There's good evidence now that that has stopped. Again, this is ambiently my sense, right? I've read some things like in passing. I did not come to this podcast preparing to talk about IQ, or I would have prepared very carefully. And then there was an interesting FT article just the other day. It was like, have we passed peak human intelligence? And my sense is that wasn't about IQ, although again, like I don't remember exactly what was in it. I kind of glanced at it and put it aside to read more later. But that literacy scores are going down, a number of test scores are going down. And the sort of sense of the piece was that we are making ourselves stupider by endlessly staring at screens and social media, which I think is probably right. I've had this sort of line since becoming aware of that piece in my head that we spend a lot of time talking about how to get smarter and not enough time talking about how to avoid getting dumber. But we do a lot of things that we think make us smarter. Like I would say having social media on our phones, because like, oh, you're getting all this information all the time, that in fact make us dumber. Because it's not just that the information is bad, but the lack of concentration, the constant distraction, the sort of lack of focus. And so my sense is that there is a different kind of conversation here. I'm not sure it's really an IQ conversation, but that there is a sense that we are inflicting a possibly global, certainly societal, cognitive wound on ourselves, right? That's what John Haidt's book is a little bit about, right? That's sort of more coming at it from a behavioral standpoint. But we have, the Flynn effect reflects, right? This is how James Flynn would describe it. The Flynn effect reflects society's putting on, as he, I think, put it, the scientific spectacles. You create societies where we prize things like reading, abstract intelligence, symbolic logic. You teach people in them a lot, and we get better and better and better at doing it. And I mean, reading changes the brain. It changes the physical structure of the brain. You're hijacking parts of the mind meant for other purposes to do this kind of interpretive work. But it's of course possible, just as we became societally connected and then made more and more widespread technologies like literacy that changed our brains and led to the increase in this thing we call G, right? G intelligence, and decreases in other things, right? Like I'm really shitty at knowing which direction I'm going into. The sort of part of my brain that does navigation is terribly atrophied compared to somebody in a more in a society that did not have Google Maps. It's entirely possible to go too far in that, right? It's entirely possible to move on to technologies that begin to weaken that. I have this concern very profoundly about AI, by the way, which obviously you have a lot of your roots in. And there are parts of AI I'm very optimistic about, but my biggest concern about AI is we're going to make ourselves much stupider without realizing it. Because the things that are easy to automate in AI, which is like getting the AI to summarize the reading of something, or getting AI to write the first draft of something, that's where all the intelligence happens, in my view. I think, one advantage I have over a lot of other podcast hosts who superficially do what I do, probably this is true for you, I'm sure this is true for you, I know, is that I really do the reading. No summary is equivalent to me doing the reading and sitting there and making the associations myself and spending the time in the book and then like sort of thinking about what it brought up in me. I write the first draft. ChatGPT cannot write the first draft of my book. The first draft is fucking hard to write. And it's often hard because like it's completely wrong, but not because it's narrowly wrong, right? ChatGPT will never tell you that the problem with what you're trying to do is that you're just trying to do the wrong thing. It'll never tell you if you tell it to write a first draft, that's the wrong direction for this draft. Some part of you has to know it. And often the problem is you just haven't done enough reporting, haven't done enough research. And ChatGPT can't tell you that either. And my worry for my kids, my worry for society is creating technologies that make it incredibly alluring to automate the part of creation that is most difficult most laborious and most likely to lead to genuine insight and the sort of sharpening of your own mental acuity, I mean, we better fucking hope the AIs can autonomously make innovations, because we're going to stop. I really worry we're going to stop being able to.
Yeah, I definitely think, and all that is brilliantly put, I definitely think that social media is making me dumber. If I spend a week checking social media versus reading books,
Yeah.
I'm just distinctly the quality of my thoughts.
Even the same content.
Yeah.
I don't read things anymore as much as I can on like a screen. I print everything out
Yeah.
and I sit at a
Printing.
table and I read it. I could read it on my iPad. I could read it on my laptop. I print it all out because my attention is different.
And the same goes for AI, whether we're talking about this kind of research. It's more distinct and rigorous in the other space that I do every single day is programming. I'm definitely becoming a worse programmer by using AI, offloading, because it actually works really well there. I'm becoming worse at creative thinking, at what you're saying, writing the first draft, which require that skill, that first little leap, that little mini leap into the creative genius that we all do every single day. AI is not able to do that, and it's definitely dulling that.